Hello, this is John Paval with Access Arts Live, playing a little bit of Victime Pascali Laudes for you, the Easter anthem with which Christians around the world will be greeting Easter Sunday or Resurrection Sunday coming up at the end of this week. In the meantime, we have all sorts of chamber music live streams to tell you about. And since it is now Tuesday at 5 o'clock on April 15th, 2025, it's time to do exactly that. So here I am to get started and go through everything. Before I do that, first, let me say, if you're watching this on Facebook, please like the video. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe. Just click on the subscribe button and the notification button. And if you're watching on any of our other 5 platforms, we're glad you like our videos, but we'd like it even more if you would follow and or subscribe to us on X, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, and LinkedIn as well. So having said that, and hopefully some of you will follow up, I can tell you that this week's live streams, they include a Japanese avant-garde composer who started out in the 1950s. They include music on ancient folk instruments, the names of which some of them are completely new to me, and they include classic piano recitals and also romantic guitar, played by a guy who's extremely enthusiastic about romantic guitar. Already this week, Wigmore HALL live streamed a piano violin duo on Monday night, playing Britten, Franck, Shostakovich, and Ysaÿe, which was really great. On Tuesday, St. Marysville was live streaming a multiple award-winning pianist, Gabriele Sutkute, Lithuanian, playing bagatelles by Beethoven, rhapsodies by Brahms. That was lovely too. We're already now, that was today, that was just now, I think they've just finished up. Yeah, and so we are on to Wednesday. We put out a separate notice about both of those, I think. So if you're subscribed to us and you hit the notification button, for instance, on YouTube, you would know about these things. And if you missed them, I'm sorry, you missed some good stuff. But let us move on to what's up next, what we can tell you about, which is tomorrow on Wednesday. And I have to pull up the picture here of our next contestant, so to speak. Here we are. Here's the first one to tell you about on Wednesday. And all I can say is, wow. Wednesday, April 16th, New Music Chicago live streams a concert by flautist Sasha Ishov honoring avant-garde Japanese composer Joji Yuasa. You might want to tune in and get to know much more. 7:30 p.m. Chicago time. That'll be 8:30 on the East Coast, 5:30 on the West Coast, I think. Yeah, 2 hours earlier, and 2:30 in the morning in Europe, so kind of late. But 11:30 Thursday morning down under in Australia. This is a concert where this flautist Sasha Ishov wants to honor the legacy of Joji Yuasa, who was born in 1929 and died just last year, 2024. So this is one of these first, it's sad how sometimes people have to leave before we stop and go, oh my God, we have to honor them. I know that sometimes we honor them still alive, but very often we don't. Now, Joji started out, he started out in medical school. And then he walked away from it after World War II, back around the early 50s. He joined a young artist group called Yikin Kobo. It was an experimental music workshop that lasted through the 50s in Tokyo. And it also involved doing a lot of multimedia work. So very, very with it for what was going on in the 1950s. And years later, eventually, he would become a professor at the University of California, San Diego from 1981 to 1994, and then a professor emeritus. He also served as a guest professor at Tokyo College of Music, a professor at the Nihon University, starting in 1993, which may be why he would have left the University of California, San Diego in 94. He's had works, his works were commissioned by the Kusevetsky Music Foundation, the Helsinki Phil, the Japan Philharmonic, the Canada Council, Sun Touring Music Foundation, IRCOM, and the National Endowment of the Arts in the U.S. So this is all curated by flautist Sasha Ishov. I don't have a lot to tell you about Sasha Ishov because I can only talk about so much in a concert. And this one, I think the key thing is, who is this composer, Joji Yuasa, whom I've never heard of? Maybe you have. So it will be an evening of solos and duos, and they'll play not only music by Joji Yuasa, but also by works by Isang Yun and Yo Kondo, who were Japanese and Korean avant-garde composers who were influenced by him. It's a Chicago-based group of musicians playing: Sasha Ishov on the flute, Michael Jones on percussion, Ysaÿe Ashley Zhang on the piano, and Zachary Good on the clarinet. So now you know what instruments you're going to hear. They'll be playing pieces by Joji Yuasa Reigaku in memory of Isang Yun for solo alto flute. Joji Yuasa's Clarinet Solitude for solo clarinet. A piece by Isang Yun, who was honored by that other piece, the first piece I told you about, called Interludium A for solo piano. Then a piece by Yo Kondo called Twain, Twayn for flute and percussion. And then another piece by Isang Yun called Salomo for solo alto flute. If you like flute music, or if you have an interest in discovering what were these Japanese composers doing, after the end of World War II, as the country was putting itself back together, well, here's your chance to find it out. Flute music like that, isolated flute music, just sounds to me like, so if I think of Japanese music, I can easily think of hearing like in movies. I don't know, I'm not an expert in it, but Japanese music where it's just a flute in the background, something like that. Okay, so and there's a picture there of the composer and of the flautist who are doing this event. How do you like that? We're nothing if not comprehensive at Access at Arts Live. So that's Wednesday evening in Chicago. All right, then next up, now we have some classic piano. Thursday, April 17th, St. Mary's Perivale live streams a young man who has been called a poet of the piano, Kyle Hutchings. He'll be playing Haydn, Liszt, and César Franck at 3 p.m. European time. This is the usual 2 o'clock in the afternoon St. Mary's Perivale live stream. They do these on Tuesdays and Thursdays, free of charge. We give you the link. That'll be at 9 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast, 6 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast. But I know that there are Hollywood people out there who get up very early in the morning because that's how the business works. And midnight, Australian Eastern Standard Time. Australia is now off the daylight time because they're into their winter time. Am I sure that that's right? I'm pretty sure that's right. You want to double check it if you're an Australian. He'll be playing Haydn Sonata in E flat, 6 consolations by Liszt, and Liebesträume by Liszt. And then he'll be playing a piece by Franck, César Franck, arranged by Bauer, I guess, Prelude, Fugue, and Variation, Opus 18. If you want classic piano music, they never have poor quality recitals at St. Mary's Perivale. It's just a question of how good it's going to be. Kyle Hutchings started out teaching himself to play the piano, and after a year of doing that, he got a scholarship to study in London with pianist Richard Merrick on a Piano Man Scholarships Award, which is pretty incredible. Anyway, and International Piano magazine called him Poet of the Piano. He's at Trinity College London now. So he's a young guy, but sometimes these, the younger artists pour out their heart and soul in a way which is less, because it's less routine for them than some 45-year-old, 50-year-old pianist who's been playing forever and done it all. That's not all on Thursday, though. Later in the day, about 6 hours later, we have now. Then we're back away from typical piano, and we're on to early music. If you agree to call it that, it's considered early music, this concert by the Gotham early music scene. But I'd had people tell me they don't even think that Baroque music is early music, and this is music from well past the Baroque. Thursday, April 17th at 1:15 New York City time, Midtown Concerts, live streams Pascal Valois playing the music he loves and advocates for, early period romantic guitar from the late 18th and early 19th century. The write-up about this, the concert is called Guitaromanie, meaning guitar mania, with Pascal Valois, which looks like an awfully French name to me. And of course, he went to the Conservatoire de Musique in Montreal. He went to the University of Quebec in Montreal, and then he studied with the Schola Cantorum Basiliensis. He's played around in Basel, Paris, Riga, New York, Ottawa, San Francisco, Toronto, recorded for the Centaur Records and Electa labels. He's got, if you look him up, you can find, I think he's got 5 albums out, and he's a professor of classical guitar at Alma College and the Conservatoire de Saguenay, which I'm not familiar with, but there are many things, my friends, with which I am not familiar. The guitar he's holding there he plays romantic guitar, and he's a great believer in it. And he wants to revive enthusiasm for this music. And so he'll be playing. We don't have a full program, but his program will include an operatic fantasy by Mauro Giuliani, a sonata by Niccolò Paganini, and theme and variations by Fernando Sor. Midtown concerts are always quality, whether you consider romantic guitar to be early music or not. It's sure to be a lovely guitar music concert on Thursday afternoon in New York and Thursday evening in Europe. Nice Thursday, you know. Let's see what else we have. We are then on to Friday, and a lot of piano music on Friday again. For those of you who love piano, if you like noble and sentimental waltzes, Russian pianist Peter Laul has some for you in a live stream from the Moscow Philharmonic on Friday, April 18th, 6 in the evening European time, noon on the East Coast in the U.S. That description reminds me of the phrase valse noble et sentimental in French, which harkens back to people like Ravel and Debussy. And we're told he will be playing Chopin, Ravel, Schubert, Glinka, Debussy, and Tchaikovsky, although not necessarily in that order, and we don't know the precise pieces. Peter Laul, born in 1977, he's from his bio on the Moscow Phil website. You know, I don't know all these things by heart. Anyway, he's played in all the top concert halls in Europe and the U.S., North and South America, Japan, etc. There's a problem with the Moscow Phil website, though. They have so set up all of everything that's printed out there that you can't cut and paste it. It's all produced like a photo, and it's so laborious for me to try to go up and back from a photo and transcribe word by word that I need more motivation to do that than I have in this case. All you need to know is Peter Laul is a fine international pianist. You know the kind of music he's playing, and for the details, you can just go to the link for that concert, and you can read the details yourselves without my having to try to transcribe them for you. So take that, Moscow Philharmonic. And what happened to the picture that I had up of the man? Well, it's gone. So we move on anyway to our next pianist. Our next pianist is the kind of guy that vindicates the value if it needed vindication, of community outreach programs to help kids who are coming from who are not coming from upper middle class or musical families where they're going to get this spoon fed to them, for them to for their talents to be found and for them to blossom. The very promising piano prodigy Clayton Stephenson is at the keyboards playing Bach, Schubert, Stravinsky, but also Harold Arlen and George Gershwin in 92NY's live stream on Friday, April 18th, 7:30 p.m. New York City time. So this will be like about something like 9 hours later after the Peter Lau concert in Moscow. Anyway, Clayton Stephenson, he came up from the neighborhoods, did not come from a wealthy family at all, but it was various sort of community support programs that helped him along the way. He talks about it in his bio. He started piano lessons when he was 7 years old. He got into a Juilliard Outreach Music Advancement Program then, and by the age 10, he got into Juilliard's pre-college program. He practiced on a synthesizer at home until he found an old upright piano in an alley that an elementary school had thrown away, and he practiced on that for the next 6 years until he was 17 years old, and the Lang Lang Foundation gave him a new piano. Here's what he says: the Third Street Music School jump-started my music education. The Young People's Choir taught me phrasing and voicing. The Juilliard Outreach Music Advancement Program introduced me to formal and rigorous piano training, which enabled me to get into Juilliard pre-college. The Morningside Music Bridge validated my talent, elevated my self-confidence. The Boys Club of New York exposed me to jazz, and the Lang Lang Foundation brought me to stages worldwide and transferred me from a piano student to a young artist. Success. It was worth it. What's he going to be playing? He's going to be playing Johann Sebastian Bach's Jesu Joy of Man's Desiring, as arranged by Hess. You know, that's da 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 da. Jesu Joy of Man's Desire. Da 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 da. It's very Easterish, actually. Then he'll play 4 impromptus by Schubert. He'll play Stravinsky's 3 movements from Petrushka. Then he'll play Harold Arlen's Somewhere Over the Rainbow from The Wizard of Oz. I don't have to hum that to you, as arranged by Keith Jarrett decades ago. And finally, Gershwin's Rhapsody in Blue, although we won't have an orchestra to go with them. We will give you the link. This is not a free concert. It will cost you $25. We give you the link to where you buy your ticket. We give you the link also to Clayton Stephenson's website, but also to the program notes, which 92NY puts up. They're so good. I wish I could talk more about it, but then we'd be here forever. But I guarantee you, the program notes that they have on Schubert and Stravinsky they're just sumptuous. I wouldn't miss them if I were you, if you're interested in this music at all. And Clayton Stephenson, there he is. We'll put out a separate copy of this a clip about Clayton Stephenson on our Facebook groups, which are specifically focused on African American artists. But to me, this could be any kid coming up from the streets, like me. Anyway, so enjoy. We have a couple more to tell you about, one of which is not even chamber music, but I missed it when I did the symphony one, so I'm going to do it now. This next one is, all right, this is on Monday, and I have to tell you now because we probably won't do another roundup in time before this concert happens. I want you to know about it. The Moscow Philharmonic live streams a concert on all sorts of wind instruments, from bagpipes to Gems horns to Rausch fifes and ocarinas to crumb horns and chalumeau. That's on Monday, April 21st at 7 o'clock Moscow time, 5 in the evening European time. Did I put up the pictures of it? Yeah, these people look like they came out of the woods with these wind instruments, and sort of metaphorically they did. So the concert is called Wind, Aerophones, the Aura of Sound. It's Vladimir Lazar's son on the bagpipes, whistle, chalumeau, bombard, traverse, shalmei, and gems horn. It's Anaton Cheva on the Rouse, fife, ocarina, bavu, crumhorn, nasal flute, aha, hano, ihu, and other ethnic instruments, and Yuri Ginsberg on the Shalamu, Ganassi flute, crumhorn, clarinet, alto clarinet. Well, I mean, it's not every day that you get to hear those instruments. So those of you who are early music lovers as well, you might not want to miss this particular concert. If the timing works for you, it'll be at 7 o'clock Moscow time, 5 o'clock European time, 11 in the morning, your Monday morning on the East Coast, and 8 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast. I got no more to say about it, but I can heartily recommend it without having heard any of it. I mean, come on, Chalumeau. And finally, I want to tell you about one more concert that I was not aware of when I was doing the orchestral works this week, but it really bears mentioning. It's because there's a really fine violinist, Semyon Promo, who is in it, and this is coming out of Tomsk in Siberia on Sunday. It's an Easter concert. The Tomsk Philharmonic tells us that every educated Russian appreciates the great 19th century Romantic composers. So they're live streaming Bruch's First Violin Concerto and Brahms's magnificent Fourth Symphony on Easter Sunday, April 20th at noon European time. That'll be a Sunday. The Orthodox churches, like they have in Russia and Ukraine and Greece, they're celebrating Easter on the same Sunday as the Catholic and Christian denominations in the West, which doesn't always happen. So this will be an Easter Sunday concert as part of a series that they do called Atmosphere, and I don't really understand that. But this will be Igor Berendeyev, who's the usual artistic director and chief conductor of the Tomsk Philharmonic. If you follow us, you've heard me talk about him many times, so I don't think I need to fill you in on it too much more. Semyon Promo, the violinist in the Bruch Violin Concerto No. 1, Opus 26 in G minor, he's a soloist with the Novosibirsk Philharmonic. He's the concert master of the Tomsk Philharmonic, and he's the kind of guy that you'll find playing with the Moscow Phil and with the Mariinsky Concert Hall in St. Petersburg as a soloist. I mean, he's just a top guy. And Brahms's Symphony No. 4, Opus 98 is one of the first ones I ever discovered, and I was just overwhelmed by the ocean of sound and movement and the waves of it. So, folks, that's what we have for you this week in terms of chamber music, and in terms of that one other that one other orchestral thing on Sunday, that Easter concert coming to you from Tomsk. I will remind you once more that if you're watching this on Facebook, please like the video. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to Access Arts Live by clicking on the subscribe button and the notification button. And if you're watching us on our other 5 platforms, we're happy that you like our videos. We'll be happier if you take the next step and follow and or subscribe to us on those other platforms, which are X, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, and LinkedIn. That's it for this week, folks. We've given you the roundup of symphonies. We've given you the roundup of organ recitals earlier today, and now the roundup of the chamber music. I hope that you have a great week. If you are a person of faith, I wish you a holy and blessed week to come as we go through the various passions, the various steps of the passions of Christ, and the celebration of the resurrection on Easter Sunday. And I suppose anybody, believer or not, can find that celebrating sort of coming back from the dead, or when you think you've been dead, is always a great thing. And I think it happens maybe to all of us at different times in our lives. But putting all that aside, because I'm not trying to dwell on any kind of religious topics, I hope that some, more, or any of these symphonic, chamber music, or organ live streams inspire you, uplift you, or just show you a heck of a good time. And I may be back one more time later in the week to go over the weekend highlights and our recommendations for the top live streams to see this weekend. But if not, I'll be back next Monday at the usual time, 6 o'clock in the evening, European time, noon on the East Coast, 9 in the morning on the West Coast, to give you the scoop on all of next week's orchestral, symphonic, and operatic, and ballet live streams. Ciao for now, and thanks for listening.